After the consumption of the forbidden fruit, God decreed 39 curses. Okay, why 39? 10 on the serpent, 10 on Eve, 10 on Adam, and 9 for the earth. Okay, why 9, not 10? Presumably because the serpent, Adam and Eve, who were previously immortal, now were cursed with death, and the earth can't literally die. So the earth got 9 curses, because the earth can't be literally killed, but the other 3 got 9 curses and death, something like that. So you have a total of 39 curses that were pronounced, that were decreed upon the world. And of course, as we move towards the Messianic Age, as we return to that Garden of Eden, as we return to the Messianic Age and return to a perfect world, those curses will be lifted. And so you actually find the number 39. Where have you seen that number 39 before? Where do we see it? Because this number comes up in Judaism in many places.
All the things you can do on Shabbat.
Exactly. So the first thing that comes to mind is the 39 melachot of Shabbat. There's 39 prohibited activities that you're supposed to desist from on Shabbat. Why specifically 39? So the Kabbalistic explanation of that on a mystical level is by keeping Shabbat. That Shabbat is kind of like a day when these curses are not felt almost. And also by keeping Shabbat, it's like we are reversing the curses. It's like a tikkun. It's a rectification to reverse the curses of Eden. And of course, we are moving towards the Messianic Age, which is like the cosmic Shabbat, right? The 7th final millennium, which is entirely kulo Shabbat. It's like a millennium of Shabbat. And so Shabbat's kind of like an island in time. And on Shabbat, we experience a little bit of the Garden of Eden. And so there's specifically 39 melachot, 39 things that you're not allowed to do on Shabbat that actually correspond to these 39 curses. Another place where you see 39 is, again, in the Messianic Age, at the resurrection of the dead. When Isaiah, the prophet, one of the places in the Tanakh that speaks about the resurrection of the dead, he says, Ichyu metecha, that your dead will come back to life. And he says there, he connects the resurrection of the dead to a dew of resurrection, dew, D-E-W, a dew of resurrection. Kital orot talecha, some kind of dew of light that will resurrect the dead, the righteous that come back to life at the end of days, is connected to this dew. And the word tal also, tet, lamed, is 39. So even at the resurrection of the dead, when people come back and return, the righteous return as, wholesome, perfect beings in a perfect world, resurrect into a new Garden of Eden. Again, it's that number 39. They are resurrected with this special dew, a dew of light, tal orot. And there's many other places where you see the number 39, and we're not going to go through all of them. Now, what were those 39 curses? So I really want to focus on the curses on Eve, but I'll give you like a quick rundown of all of them just to get the complete picture, or at least on the 3 figures, on the serpent, on Eve, and on Adam. So it starts by saying Vehevi shloshtan venatan aleim gzar din mitish'a klalot ve'mavet. Like we said, he gave each one 9 curses and death. And for the Nachash, what did he do? Vehipil et Samael ve'et kat shelo mimakom kedushatan min hashamayim. That the Nachash is really associated with the Satan, or with Samael, perhaps another angel, or with the angel of death, or with the evil inclination. They're often kind of like the same figure. That serpent, who was originally an angel. Right? He didn't come as a serpent. He was not a Nachash initially. He was not a snake initially. So all those medieval European paintings of a snake curled up on a tree, whispering in Eve's ear or whatever, like he didn't come as a snake. That was the part of the punishment. He was an angel, so he was cast out of heaven. So that's the first curse upon the Nachash, was to be cast down from heaven. The second was vekatzatz raglav shel Nachash, so he cut off his appendages and made him a snake. Upakad alav lihiyot mafshit et oro, and the snake also is cursed with going through this painful shedding of its skin. And umitztaer achat leshiva shanim be'itzavon gadol, and apparently every 7 years he goes through a great suffering, some super painful thing that the Nachash.
The serpents are suffering?
I don't know if that applies to all serpents or this particular angel. Not quite sure. I mean, I think you can interpret it either way. Do all snakes represent that particular being? Not sure.
For some reason they call them the snakes.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like symbol. The snake is the symbol of that being, But certainly that being that was cursed, that angel, goes through some kind of suffering every 7 years. That he is cursed to slither on his belly all the time. And everything that he tastes is basically dust. And we actually know that's scientifically true, that snakes don't have taste buds. So they don't really taste what they eat. I mean, they swallow their food, so they don't really taste anything. And it says in its innards, it just turns to like dust. It gets no pleasure from its food. Umrorat ptanim, and it has venom in its mouth basically all the time. And the mavet befiu, and I think this means also that death is in its mouth. I think it implies there's various other places that speak of the Nachash as becoming the angel of death. Because the Nachash caused death to enter the world, so fittingly, he will be the one that brings about death. And so he's responsible for that. Yeah. So the Satan and the Malach HaMavet in some places are identified as the same being. Right. In some sources, they're considered one and the same being. And the last one, as it says actually clearly in the Torah, that titen sin'a beino leven bnei ha'isha, that there's this hatred between human beings and snakes, and that the human always bites the snake bites the heel of the human, and the human steps on the snake, whatever that means. So those are the curses plus death. Those were the curses upon the snake.